When most people think about or give advice on how to glow up, it's almost always physical and surface level. Weight loss, skincare, makeup, new clothes, new hairstyle, looks maxing, all the things. But that's the easy part. And honestly, when you only focus on that, your glow up will always be short lived. The harder part and what will give you that real glow from within that is long lasting without too much mental load is one that starts with deep inner work, a lot of times unrelated to what we think we actually need to focus on. And I know this to be true because I went through some of my darkest, lowest moments in university around 5 years ago. I really wanted to have a glow up. I did all the surface level things and it worked. I had a little moment where I felt a lot better in myself physically, but deep down, nothing really changed. So in 2 to 3 years, all of it went down the drain and I went back even worse physically, literally just like dead in the eyes, chasing dopamine from a bunch of things so I didn't have to have thoughts of my own or think about how much I wasn't pleased about myself. I also was literally 40 pounds heavier. There was just so much dead weight mentally and physically on me that made me not have this glow and energy that I do now. In order to get to this version of me today, I went through a lot of deep inner work, which then the physical changes came as a cause with less mental work. And today I'm going to unpack unconventional inner work that is not usually talked about in the context of glowing up physically. Hello, my name is Danae. Super excited for today's yap. If you are watching on YouTube, by the way, you can also listen on Spotify at Pretty Philosophical with Danae Seaton, which is always linked in the description. So I want to start by saying that yes, of course, in order to, let's say if you want to change your body, you need to be in a caloric deficit or surplus. You need to eat and change your eating habits and your moving habits. If you want to present in a different way, you need to change your style. All of those things are important, but those things I believe come easier and actualize in a much stronger manner when you are living within your true self. So in the past, I've tried to do a glow up and I would change my hair. I had blonde curly hair before, which that was my way of doing something radically different to feel different, but that hair wasn't true to the type of woman and life that I wanted to have because I didn't know who I was on the inside. I was a chameleon, people pleaser, talk about that a lot. If you want to listen to those, I'll link it. But that's like an example to me. And I think this will resonate with a certain type of person, but through and through, you look your best when deep down, you know who you are and you are aligned with this version of yourself. So the first unconventional tip, I'm going to put in a broad bucket called radical self-awareness. But what's in that bucket, more importantly, is doing the inner work of figuring out what loops are constantly going on. And you can only do this when you're not on social media and scrolling and finding ways to not be alone with yourself. You figure this out when you have solitude, when you sit with yourself in silence. More on that later. This is kind of a little side tangent, but I really use my luteal phase. And I do talk about this in previous episodes. If I notice that within my luteal phase in 2-3 times, I am thinking about the same thing, I know this is something I need to work on, whether it's a friend, a career, or lifestyle decision, or whatever the case is. So I know I need to hone in on that when I'm not in that emotionally heightened state and figure out what the next steps are so that doesn't become a reoccurring loop. For me, in my true glow up, I had constant loops with hard conversations that I needed to have with family members, friends, or people in my life that was weighing me down. I had this mental burden, this mental weight that I was carrying because I was, for all of these years, not having these hard conversations. I don't want to get too personal and specific, but as an example, let's say you have a rocky relationship with a parent. You might know on the surface you have it, but you might not realize how much it's impacting you and how much of a load it is on your mental. So when you sit in solitude and you realize how important, let's say, this thing is and it comes up, then you are able to take hold of the loop. So that's a great first step. And then you work towards breaking it by having those hard conversations. That not only helps you release the mental load, but it makes you a more confident person. I've, over the past 3-4 years, had some of the most difficult conversations with family members and friends, which freed me from so many shackles that I didn't know I have. And now in new relationships or in friendships or in work scenarios, I'm a freelancer, I have so much confidence because I'm like, nothing is going to be harder than that. That gives you that outside glow that you could have never ever get just by, doing your highlight a certain way, for example. So I think the best thing you can do is over a period of time, or if you have a whole day to spare, depending on your circumstances right now, a good technique is just taking out a piece of paper or a blank notebook and writing whatever comes to your mind, literally whatever comes to your mind for 30, 40 minutes to an hour. The goal is not to make it legible. You don't need to read it after. The goal is to just let your subconscious mind start running on the paper. Then you're going to start seeing, oh, this is randomly coming up. I haven't thought of that in like 2 years on the surface of your subconscious mind, which is now being actualized as you do this technique. So that's a great technique. That's definitely what I did. I did that one time. Every single thing that came up in that moment, I attacked head on for 2 years. And that really helped me with this process of the glow up. And more, when you know yourself, you can't lie to yourself about who you are, who you want to be, and it makes it difficult to do that with others too. So very, very important. Unconventional tip number 2 goes right along with that. Letting go of that dead weight. Also physically, let go of things, clothes, trinkets, books, anything that you haven't touched in 3 months or 2 months, give it away. Sell it, donate it. The more weight you literally have around you and within your space and in your life, the more you're holding on to. If you want to have that light glow, you need to literally let go of things. That also goes into your digital hygiene, something I love to talk about. Block, mute, delete with quickness. This is your phone, your social media app. There's no reason why you need to have someone on there that you don't like seeing or that raises something in you that makes you feel stressed or reminds you of a version of yourself that you don't want to be reminded of. This was massive for me. My social media accounts now are purely a tool for me, for my business, YouTube, podcast, all the things. That is it. Therefore, I have, yes, a couple close friends that are actually my close friends in real life. Everyone else is adjacent to this current reality that I'm in. I'm telling you guys, one of the best things that I did was remove people that held me to a version of myself that I no longer was. Literally not seeing them has changed my life. When I went onto Snapchat to get those videos and images that I shared in the intro, I went and immediately the emotions of seeing these people on Snapchat that I hadn't seen for years. One, most of them living the same exact life in the same exact way, whereas my life has drastically changed. But two, just literally seeing the circle brought up so much emotions that brought me back to that version of myself, which shows me how powerful just even literally just glancing at that of something that is of the old you that you want to glow up from can do. What you can't see or hear cannot affect you. What you're consuming is important. This is your phone, your social media. Do yourself a favor, the future self, let go of all of that. You don't need to keep up appearances in any way, shape, or form. It's literally not doing you any good. And on top of that, this lightness then gives you more energy to focus on what you need to do to achieve the glow up. Okay? So as I said in the beginning, the other practical physical things are important, but sometimes when you're so drained from the life and this weight that you're holding, it's difficult to want to go to the gym and do these things, have these habits. I know this to be true. I was crippled in my bed, not able to do anything either. Part of feeling that lightness and that freedom and being able to do and having more ease in doing the habits and things you know you need to do is letting go of the dead weight in all the capacities that I just mentioned. Next, unconventional glow up tip, trust yourself to make decisions without texting the group chat. This is a good one too. I have an episode on that. Definitely watch that if you haven't already. Making micro decisions so you can start to trust yourself, important. You don't need to text your friend and ask if you should get a cappuccino or a latte. Definitely don't message chat GPT either. And then you continue to do that even in bigger things. But also, on top of that, building a life so that it allows you to reduce decision fatigue as well. This forces you to become aligned with your values and how you want to show up and your goals. If you are super in tune with how, like as an example for me, I would struggle with eating. I would always feel so uncomfortable after I ate. I would binge eat. And as a cause, I was 40 pounds overweight, generally felt uncomfortable in myself, wasn't confident. Trusting myself over time to make small micro decisions then allowed me to really feel strong in my values, especially as someone who was a people pleaser and didn't really know herself for a majority of her life. Because of that, it became easier for me to make decisions about what I wanted to eat and what I wanted to drink without spending literally like hours scrolling and being like, oh, I don't know, I'm so indecisive, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no, I'm trying to feel this way after I eat this meal, so I'm going to choose this and this because I know that's what it makes me do and I'm going to do that for my future self. It's like a positive cycle all around. So that's like really important. But two, the glow up doesn't just happen at once. We know this. It's going to happen over time, it's all really small decision making, and you're going to sometimes mess that up. And that's where the learning process happens. But if you're outsourcing your decision making to other people constantly, it's not based off of who you truly are. And that's why this point is important. It's like you want to make micro decisions so you can own the outcome, whether good or bad, learn from them, and then continue to do that consistently over time. The glow will definitely be there. This is where the glow comes from. Next, daily self audits. Literally every single night, closing your eyes 5 to 7 minutes and thinking about every single thing you did for the day. I've talked about this in the past in a different capacity and how it's good for your memory, but more, it allows you to reflect on what decisions made you make other decisions. And if you had a bad day, what got you there? Oh, you had this thing happen, and then this emotion, and then this thing, and then whoa, the day was done. If you had a good day, you can then reflect on the things that help you have a good day, which means you can lean into them more. This built within me accountability without shame. So it's like, let's just be honest about I'm holding myself accountable by being honest about if I did and what got me to this point right now as I lay in bed and think about this. And I can now create and I can now be honest and hold myself to that in order to move forward in a positive way or in a way I would like to if it wasn't that way. If you want to see a literal, physical, and mental change, you need to be honest with yourself. And that starts by accurately looking at the life that you're living and making decisions to move you in the direction that you want to go in. You can't change what you can't measure. And I saw this lovely quote the other day as well, which inspired me to talk about this today. It's like, people know that you need to tear a muscle to build it up. Why would it not be the same in your mind and your spirit? You need to tear it down and build it again. And a great way to do this is through measuring, is through seeing where you are mentally and spiritually, and figuring out what bits you need to take away and what you want to work on growing. Next tip, being obsessive about the season you're in, getting on and moving forward and never stopping, no matter who says, oh, you're being too extreme, this, that, and the third. Be obsessive about the season that you're in of self-development or glowing up. Some seasons require obsession, and it is good to go all in. Maybe you do not need balance right now in this season because you spent 15 years hating yourself and doing every single bad habit you possibly could. So then why in this season would you be trying to seek for balance? Go all in and then be obsessed with this new version of yourself that you're trying to build. Don't you owe it to yourself? Time is our most precious thing. In fact, we do not know if we're going to wake up the next day. Our time is the most valuable asset. Let's buy that time back by being obsessive in this journey now. And over time, we can wean off of it. It's much easier to go all in and wean down than pretend like you even understand what that balance looks like if you haven't even been fully on the other side of things. Maybe you need to be obsessive about the way that you stop yourself from doom scrolling on your phone or ordering food or avoiding your responsibilities. Embrace the current motion and state that is required, and you will be rewarded by doing so. Nature likes things that are in motion. So for me, I was coming from a place where I had loops of shame, loops of low energy, anxiety, seeking validation in the wrong people. And these were constant loops. And I would try little by little to break the loops. And somewhere along the lines, they would just close themselves back up because I didn't make a full commitment to break them. When I chose to make a full commitment to my glow up, I did all of these unconventional things, not in a strategic way at the time, but just being literally so fed up and exhausted of where I was and feeling so heavy, literally, in myself that I needed to just kind of break everything down. I just got to the point where my mind was just giving me all of these things I needed to do in different ways at different times. And all of that cumulatively allowed me then to focus on the physical aspects in a way where it wasn't so exhausting and I didn't need to will myself into the things. Going on a caloric deficit and weightlifting for 6 months was easy when I had unlocked all the things that got me to even the point gaining that weight anyway. Building my multi-six-figure freelance business, which then gave me more disposable income so I could move and be in a different environment and all these things, that was easier to do when I was forced to confront all of my limiting beliefs and realize that the life I was living or the path that I was trying to go on wasn't actually mine. And now getting the chance to help women do the same, not only through speaking here in She Freelances, my private community and program, easy to build when I feel aligned in my vision. Waking up every day for like months at 6 a.m. to film and design and create that and spend money, like all of that was easier to do when the mental load, that shame, and all those loops that were broken because of that inner work. As a cause, I can show up with conviction. I physically feel good, so I show up more positive and happy. The clothes I wear, the way I do my hair, the way I do my nails, all of that stuff is a reflection of who I feel like I am, of my values today, that I feel aligned with. When I was wearing massive lash extensions, it was because I thought I needed this massive enhancement to make me appear more attractive. I look back and I don't think that I even looked better. Again, what I'm trying to get across is when the inside shifts, the ease of the outer work that you need to do as well, it will come with less work or even thought, really. A glow up, a true glow up that lasts, that is not fickle, is something that starts on the inside, and it's definitely not a singular transformation moment. Ultimately, it's about becoming someone who doesn't fall back in the loops that got you there in the first place, to the version of you physically, spiritually, mentally you do not like, and you can only break them by doing all of that inner work. That's it for today. We'll talk soon. Bye.